The story of Hannah Dawson's disappearance is one that still haunts the quiet streets of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. It's a tale that begins with the innocence of a 12-year-old girl excited for a sleepover and ends with a chilling mystery that has left an entire community searching for answers. On the surface, it seemed like any other weekend for Hannah. A night of movies, popcorn, and laughter at her stepfather, Greg Watson's home. But by morning, Hannah was gone, and the details that emerged would unravel a web of lies, secrets, and a crime so heinous it would shake the town to its core. This is not just a story about a missing girl. It's a story about trust betrayed, justice sought, and the haunting question, how well do we really know the people closest to us? Hannah Dawson was a bright, bubbly 7th grader with a passion for art and a love for life. She was the kind of kid who lit up a room with her smile and had a knack for making friends wherever she went. On the evening of October 14th, 2023, her mother, Jennifer Dawson, dropped her off at Greg Watson's house for what was supposed to be a fun sleepover. Jennifer later recalled how excited Hannah was, clutching her overnight bag filled with her favorite stuffed owl, Mr. Hoots, and her new glitter pens. Greg, a 38-year-old accountant, had been in Hannah's life since she was 5. He and Jennifer had divorced 2 years prior, but Greg remained a constant presence in Hannah's life. Neighbors described him as quiet and reserved, a man who kept to himself but was always polite. That evening, according to Greg, was uneventful. They ordered pizza, watched Stranger Things, and Hannah video chatted with her best friend Lily around 8:45 p.m. But as investigators began piecing together the timeline, inconsistencies emerged. Greg claimed Hannah went to bed at 10 p.m., but her iPad showed activity until 10:47 p.m. She had been scrolling through Instagram, liking posts about a school fundraiser, and even sent a quick good night text to Lily. The iPad was later found plugged in on the kitchen counter, a detail that struck Jennifer as odd. Hannah always charged her iPad under her pillow. She never left it in the kitchen, Jennifer told detectives. Another red flag was the state of the house when police arrived. It was immaculate, almost unnervingly so. Hannah's popcorn bowl had been washed, her bed was neatly made, and there was a faint smell of bleach in the air. Detectives noted that Greg seemed overly concerned with cleanliness, even as he reported his stepdaughter missing. What do you think about the iPad being moved? Was Greg trying to hide something? Let's discuss in the comments. At 7:42 a.m. on October 15th, Greg Watson made the call that would set the investigation into motion. His voice was shaky, his words fragmented, as he reported Hannah missing. The 911 operator later described the call as unnerving, noting Greg's inconsistent tone and the way he seemed to be holding back emotion. 911. Operator. 911. What's your emergency? Greg Watson. My stepdaughter. She's gone. She's not in the house. Operator. When was the last time you saw her? Greg. Last night. She went to bed. I swear she was right here. The call lasted just over 4 minutes, but it was enough to raise suspicions. Greg's story didn't add up. He claimed he had taken a sleeping pill at 11 p.m. and didn't wake up until 7 a.m., but the pill bottle in his bathroom was unopened. When asked if Hannah had any enemies or if she might have run away, Greg snapped, "She's a kid! Who would want to hurt her?" Forensic audio experts later analyzed the call and isolated a faint sound in the background, a dog's whine. The Watsons didn't own a dog, but neighbors confirmed a stray golden retriever often roamed the area. Did the dog witness something? Or was the noise a red herring? When police arrived, Greg was standing in the driveway, still in his pajamas. He repeatedly rubbed his left wrist, a nervous tic detectives would later recognize as a tell. His alibi was full of holes, and his behavior only deepened their suspicions. Do you think Greg's 911 call was genuine? Or was he putting on an act? Sound off below. As the investigation progressed, detectives began to uncover a series of disturbing details that pointed to Greg's involvement. The first major breakthrough came when they reviewed footage from a neighbor's Ring camera. At 2:30 a.m., the camera captured a shadowy figure leaving Greg's garage, carrying what appeared to be a large duffel bag. The figure's gait resembled Greg's, but the footage was too grainy to confirm. Around the same time, Hannah's Fitbit stopped syncing. The last recorded data showed her heart rate spiking at 2:15 a.m., followed by a sudden drop. Detectives theorized that this was the moment she was attacked. Greg's cell phone records added another layer of suspicion. At 2:31 a.m., his phone pinged off a cell tower near the Cedar River, a remote area 3 miles from his home. When confronted, Greg claimed he had gone for a drive because he couldn't sleep. But detectives weren't buying it. Further digging revealed that Greg had made a late-night trip to a 24-hour Home Depot at 1:45 a.m. Security footage showed him purchasing a tarp, duct tape, and lime powder. When asked about the purchase, Greg claimed he was fixing a leak in the basement, but receipts showed he had bought the same supplies 2 weeks earlier. What do you think Greg was planning with those supplies? Was he preparing to hide something? Let's debate in the comments. Greg's alibi continued to crumble under scrutiny. Phone records placed him near the Cedar River at 2:31 a.m. and again at a closed gas station 10 miles east at 3:15 a.m. A fisherman later came forward, claiming he had seen a man in a red SUV dumping something heavy into the river around that time. Police dredged the river and found a weighted duffel bag containing Hannah's pajamas, stained with what tests confirmed was her blood. The discovery was a turning point in the case, but it was only the beginning. Forensic botanists matched dirt under Greg's fingernails to soil samples taken from a shallow grave in the woods. Tire tracks near the grave were linked to his SUV, and a shovel found in his garage had traces of Hannah's DNA. But perhaps the most damning evidence came from Greg's Google search history. Recovered from his work laptop, the searches included, how long does DNA last underwater? Can lime powder hide a body? States with no extradition treaties. Most chilling was a search dated 3 days before. Hannah's disappearance. Can a 12-year-old testify in court? Was Greg planning to silence Hannah, or was her death an accident? Let us know your thoughts. On November 3rd, a jogger in the woods near Pleasant Creek stumbled upon a pink hoodie partially buried under leaves. It was Hannah's. Nearby, forensic teams uncovered a shallow grave containing human remains. DNA testing confirmed it was Hannah. The autopsy revealed multiple blunt force injuries, including defensive wounds on her palms. Investigators theorized that Hannah had fought back against her attacker. They also discovered a healed fracture in her wrist, which Jennifer later revealed had occurred weeks earlier. She told me she fell off her bike, Jennifer said, but Greg was the one who took her to the ER that day. Rumors began to swirl online, with true crime forums speculating about a second suspect. A co-worker of Greg's leaked that he had been embezzling funds from his job, and Hannah had overheard him arguing with a client. Was her murder a cover-up? Light a candle for Hannah. Let's flood the comments with support. Under intense questioning, Greg finally cracked. He admitted to accidentally hurting Hannah during an argument, but insisted it wasn't intentional. I panicked, he said. I didn't mean to. But the evidence told a different story. Blood was found in his car, and his search history painted a picture of premeditation. Greg pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced to 40 years in prison. Yet questions remain. Who was the shadowy figure in the ring footage? And why did Greg's burner phone contain texts to an unknown contact? It's done. Do you think Greg acted alone, or was someone else involved? Let's discuss. Justice served? Greg Watson is behind bars, but for Jennifer Dawson, the pain is far from over. He took my baby's voice, she said. Now he'll rot in silence. The case remains open, and the search for answers continues. If you're as invested in this case as we are, hit that subscribe button. Next up, the vanishing of the Springfield 3. DNA just cracked the case.